massive thank you to Ballo, Tex, Crosby, EP3 and It's Your Boy for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 21 of Season 2 of the F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we return today once more in Sao Paulo, Brazil, of course. Yesterday we did the sprint race here from Interlagos, and today of course we're back with the main event. If you missed out on that video that went live yesterday afternoon, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. Of course, yeah, content's been a little bit weird and all over the place over the last few days, but a massive thank you to all of you for the continued support. We've ticked through 82,000 subscribers. We're well on our way towards 85 and of course 90k before the big goal of 100k by the end of 2022. So of course, if you're not already, please do consider getting yourself subscribed if you're enjoying daily Formula 1 content. But yeah, today though, Brazilian GP time. We have got a couple of little bits and pieces to go through. Of course, we had a decent sprint race yesterday after struggling in qualifying. We know there's plenty of grid penalties around the F1 grid as well, so hopefully we're going to be starting up inside the top 10, and hopefully therefore we can try and continue on our good solid points run. Championship-wise though, Bottas and Charles Leclerc now are the two main protagonists as we head in towards the final two races of the year. George Russell, 1 point behind Charles Leclerc, but he's going to need a miracle today, starting at the rear of the field. 20 points between Bottas and Leclerc. Leclerc is on a brilliant winning streak run at the moment, but Bottas starts higher for the main race today. Valtteri could be world champion come the end of this weekend. Of course, if he wins the race, it is all over. Charles Leclerc cannot get close enough to Bottas, so maybe, just maybe, in the most unlikely circumstances ever, the Flying Finn could be crowned a world champion. Imperium experiences are back and better than ever. This time they are offering you the chance to win a weekend of a lifetime at the 2022 season finale in Abu Dhabi. This includes a 4-night accommodation at a 5-star hotel and travel to and from the circuit included every day. All you need to do is click the link down in my description and enter the competition on their website. But hurry, with only 1,500 tickets available and the competition closing on the 14th of September, you definitely don't want to miss out on this. So click the link down in the description below, and a massive thank you to Imperium for sponsoring this video.
Formula 1 returns to Interlagos once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his third championship here in 2012, and just 4 years later, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, and Sainz. Mr. Monaco, Norris. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Drugovich and Alex Albon. Tsunoda, they've taken a grid penalty. Magnussen and Sir Lewis Hamilton. And Joe. Ocon, Latifi, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Pierre Gasly and Théo Pourchaire. Schwartzman, Stroll, Russell and Mick Schumacher. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Well, tense times then here for Valtteri Bottas, ahead of his main rival Charles Leclerc, but second and third on the grid for the pair of them. Penalties galore this weekend. We have been bumped up all the way to P7, ready for the start of the main event here today, and fingers crossed we can try and hang on to this position. Maybe move ourselves a little bit further forward. But yeah, Brazilian Grand Prix has not really suited our car so far this weekend. I think we've still got a few other teams putting on a couple more upgrades. We're now fully focused towards Season 3, trying to make sure we've got a nice and quicker car ready for the new year as well. But yeah, 36 laps ahead of us though, here in Interlagos. Really am looking forward to this race though. Fingers crossed we can keep it clean and tidy, and maybe, just maybe, a new world champion will be crowned. As we get ready to line up on the grid then here in Interlagos, we've ended up going from 20th at the start of the sprint to lining up 7th on the start for the main race today. Oh no! Just maybe got a little bit overzealous on the throttle there as we try and actually find our grid slot. Make sure we're lined up all nice and square. There we go. That'll do us.
Let's make sure we get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out.
That's not going to happen, Mark. We will get a bad start here. Just you absolutely wait for it. But yeah, Mick Schumacher lining up on the grid then at the rear of the field. Let's see if we can try and get a good start. 5 red lights. And it is going to be lights out, and away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. They're desperately trying to avoid the wheel spin on the uphill climb towards turn 1. Lando Norris will fly past me, and look at Albon. Straight up into P7 then at the start of the race. There is getting a little bit of contact with Lando Norris on the exit of turn 1. They're side by side with Kevin Magnussen as we head down the Assetto Corsa then at the start of this race. We're going to try and force the Aston Martin defensive. Oh, K-Mag just moving around a little bit in the braking zone there. We actually got a bump from Felipe Drugovich behind me that forced me into the Aston Martin. So not the best start in the world then, down into P10 of this race. But like I said, I don't think this one is going to be a Grand Prix of trying to make much progress. I think it was just going to be trying to hang on 2 positions there. But I mean, the likes of the Williams and your Aston Martins, I'd like to believe we should be a little bit faster than. As Max Verstappen leads the way as we head through Sector 2 here of this opening lap. Valtteri Bottas still ahead of Charles Leclerc at the moment. Of course, yeah, the other one to watch out for is George Russell. Will he be able to make much progress today in this race and potentially still give him the slimmest of chances at a Formula 1 world title here? But really, Leclerc, he needs to try and win this one again and, of course, outscore Valtteri Bottas. Just bring that gap down at the top of the championship. We've seen that Ferrari be rapid, of course, like we mentioned yesterday. 3 Grand Prix victories in a row for Charles Leclerc. He really has made the difference. Of course, that car has often struggled on a Saturday, but you get it to Sunday, and that thing is absolutely on fire at the moment. But yeah, still inside the top 10 then at the end of lap 1. Not the start we would have wanted, but not the end of the world either. Still trying to apply the pressure then to Kevin Magnussen early on in this Grand Prix. We have now got the DRS as we head back down the Assetto Corsa. But you can see Charles Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas are nose to tail at the front of the field. That'll be the battle we're watching out for throughout a lot of this afternoon. But how will it transpire? I'm sure Max Verstappen probably hoping he can try and snooker away a race victory, of course, here in Brazil. Often been a track he and Red Bull have done well at, but they just have not had the car this year. Maybe they'll be back fighting for the championship next season. You know, we have spoke about it. Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and of course McLaren all battling out for the crown. It would be a fantastic battle to unfold. Got yellow flags out. I think that's Mick Schumacher. Has about an absolute nightmare this weekend in terms of reliability, and Mick Schumacher has barely been able to complete about 10 laps throughout both of the races here as he's actually dived into the pit lane. So I don't know if he's retiring or not, whether he's just had something else go on, as Lando Norris getting very, very feisty behind Alex Albon. Hopefully the McLaren can try and move past the Williams quite soon, because I'm sort of thinking, you know, K-Mag and Albon, we should be able to jump. But yeah, Mick Schumacher does seem to be continuing on though, so I'm guessing it was just a momentary blip. The other problem we've got is Kevin Magnussen is just hanging on to the DRS of Lando and Albon just in front of me. We do gain quite a lot as we head back towards turn 1. As here we go, Lando Norris this time having a look up the inside of Alex Albon. We've seen so many battles down at turn 1 here in the past. Oh, big snap of oversteer though as we head on the exit there, as we have to rejoin across the grass, and that might leave us vulnerable to homeboy Felipe Drugovich as we head down in towards turn 4 there. That was really not what we wanted in that moment. Whoa! It's all going pear-shaped at the moment then. There's a little bit of contact with Drugo. Maybe I just gave him a bit too much of a squeeze down at turn 4 there as we head up the hill side by side still, and we will just about hang on. Sonoda will try and claim the position as well, but Lando Norris has moved past Alex Albon. Kevin Magnussen now trying to apply pressure to the Williams, and we need to get back closer to these two. It hasn't taken us long to get back within the DRS range of Kevin Magnussen, but he's not really applying enough pressure to Albon at the moment, so I might have to try and get on with it as we head back up towards turn 1 here. Of course, such a big run in towards the first corner, but the AI really do like to move around into the braking zone here as Kevin Magnussen kind of parks himself on the apex. Can we try and get a run out of turn 2 as we head out of the center S here? You can see K-Mag again closing in ever so slightly on Alex Albon, but to the outside down at turn 4, much later on the brakes here, and just about keep the car between the white lines there, and that was a very critical move. Finally making some forward progress in this Grand Prix and back up into P9, and hopefully it won't be long before we get past Albon either. As you can see, Lando Norris is checked out and trying to close back up to the front pack. Has been quick all weekend as Lando. Sure, he'd love to try and walk away with another victory and prove to McLaren that he's still got what it takes. Starting lap 10 then of this Brazilian GP, and now all over the back of Alexander Albon as we get in towards turn 1. Let's see what we can do against the Williams as we head out of the center S. Hopefully we can try and shift ourselves up into P8 of the Grand Prix here. So we're going to have a look towards Albon there. He's got quite good top end speed actually in that Williams. Oh, he just sits on the exit of turn 4 there, I think just trying to cover me off. Can we have a look towards the outside there as we head up in towards turn 6 though? Round the outside of Alex Albon we go, and that is a critical move in this Grand Prix there. Don't often see overtakes there, but we will absolutely take it. And now back up into P8 then of the Grand Prix, and now we might be in for a few quiet laps here as we just wait and see as to how strategies pan out. At the front of the field though, oh come on, Bottas still ahead of Charles Leclerc, but it would not be enough to crown him as world champion today. The gap would open up to 23 or 24 points, depending on who's got fastest lap. But Verstappen, he learnt yesterday just how quick that McLaren is down the straights when Lando Norris got past him, and then he just couldn't keep up with the McLaren. As we've got Albon trying to close back in on me. We've seen how strong that Williams is back in towards turn 1. Is Albon going to be able to have a look? Yes, he does. Clean up the inside. Oh, Alex Albon getting his elbows out, and that really did catch me by surprise. Well, Albon caught me by surprise last time out as we went round the final couple of turns. This would be starting the final lap of the sprint race, but of course we have got another 24 laps to go. And so far the first 12 have been action-packed. Let's see what the final 24 are going to have in store for us there. As again, you just can't really send it on the AI in towards someone, or at least I can. I just don't have the confidence on the brakes to have a look past the Williams car there, as hopefully we're going to run down the Assetto Corsa once more. Albon will go defensive. Oh, he really does move around though into the braking zone. We use a lot of curb on the exit, and Albon's going to try and keep the nose there as we head up the hill once more, and Albon will slot back in to P8 of the Grand Prix. It's, yeah, the Williams man just moving around a lot on the circuit. I wouldn't say driving erratically, but certainly making me second guess a lot of the moves, and it is working for him. See this time around if we can get a run on Albon back up towards someone. They've got fantastic traction out of Jung Sao. This would have been a battle for the to the flag in the sprint race, and we would have taken it by 17 thousandths of a second over Alex Albon, but now we will re-inherit P8 once more. Are we going to see him once again though get good top end speed, get good traction as we head down the Assetto Corsa, or are we now finally going to be able to put this battle to rest between myself and the young Thai driver? Looks like we'll hang on in towards turn 4. We've often been really strong in this middle sector, so hopefully now that'll be goodbye Alex Albon. As we're about to start lap 15 then of this race, we have now broken out of the DRS range of Alex Albon, so we're going to leave him now under pressure from Lewis Hamilton behind, but big championship implications at the front. Charles Leclerc has moved past Alex Albon. Alex Albon? Valtteri Bottas even, I should say, in this Grand Prix. And yeah, that will mean that the gap now, of course, if Charles Leclerc can close up to Max Verstappen at the front of the field, that could be absolutely critical for the Monegasque driver. Of course, he needs 10 points here and 10 points next weekend, and that would bring him in line with Bottas. Of course, if Charles Leclerc won both races and they were tied on points, I think they both, if my maths hasn't failed me, be tied on 5 wins apiece. But I don't know then about seconds and thirds and things like that. I can only imagine, to be honest, Charles Leclerc has been so consistent this year But unless Bottas has had quite a few second places, which I don't think he has, it wouldn't surprise me if Charles Leclerc snookers it away, just through the sheer consistency that Ferrari have had. You don't say that often in Formula 1. Oh, there we go, starting to see the first few cars into the pit lane then. So Bottas now, for the first time this weekend, will inherit the lead there. But Charles Leclerc, I had noticed, was taking good time out of Max Verstappen, although he might just have lost that. I think Leclerc has been held up in the pit lane slightly behind the Dutchman, as we will now move up into P4 of the Grand Prix. Of course, I would have imagined we're going to see Pourchaire into the pits. There's no idea where I'm off down at turn 1. But yeah, we'll see Pourchaire into the pits at the end of this one. The medium tyres have hung on quite well. But of course, we learnt yesterday just how little the soft tyres will go. So it is definitely going to have to be medium hards. And again, I think our battle will probably be with Lewis Hamilton behind us in the second half of this race, rather than the cars in front. 9 seconds the gap to Ricciardo now. That is, unless we get a miracle, pretty insurmountable, I think. Go top 3 into the pit lane. It looks like Magnussen has held up Verstappen a little bit, but yeah, it certainly does look like Charles Leclerc has lost out through the pit window here, as everyone else moving, obviously, onto a set of the hard compounded tyres. So yeah, we will inherit the lead then of the Brazilian Grand Prix, albeit probably just for the one lap, as hopefully we'll get confirmation in just a moment about Théo Pourchaire diving into the pit lane. There we go. So yeah, Leclerc's still in P2, net P2 even, I should say, of the Grand Prix. But it does look like Bottas has lost out here in quite a big way. He's behind Sainz, he's behind Perez, and he's also now behind his teammate Lando Norris. So we thought Leclerc had been the one that had lost out. It's actually Valtteri Bottas in a big, big way. Of course, the big worry for us was, has Lewis Hamilton been able to undercut us in this Grand Prix? Looks like the Mercedes has had quite a bit of clear air here, as we're going to go aggressive into the pits. That felt pretty aggressive enough. We'll turn those tyres into 50-pence pieces on the way to the line. But yeah, Verstappen will re-inherit the lead then. Carlos Sainz up in P3. That Alpine. Carlos Sainz and that Alpine has been such a killer combo this year. I've got no idea why he's opting to retire come the end of the season. Felt like I released the clutch at the right time, but apparently not. As we'll try and now head out of this very, very technical pit lane here and into Lagos. Cold tyres as well. Certainly don't make it fun. As Lewis Hamilton now around the outside of me on pit exit. So Lewis will inherit P8 then of this Grand Prix. I think Valtteri Bottas is still hanging on in P6. So that would eliminate George Russell from the World Championship. I mean, Russell is still hanging out behind Théo Pourchaire in this race. Mercedes have really fallen off in a big, big way late on in the campaign, but they've also had no luck whatsoever. 15 to go then, just doesn't look like we'll quite have the pace to hang on with Lewis Hamilton here, but Albon's still running a fantastic race for Williams there in P10. He's kind of doing what he's done in real life, you know, when other cars have got penalties, Williams have sort of strapped on a car with very, very low wings and just been able to hang on in front of other vehicles. But you can see Yuki Tsunoda still under a bit of pressure from Kevin Magnussen and Esteban Ocon. So Albon's just sitting pretty in at P10, but 14 laps to go. Leclerc still running up in P2 there, so it looks like we will see a championship decider in Abu Dhabi in just a couple of days' time. But it does look like George Russell's campaign has come to an end. He's led so much of this championship, but it is going to require a miracle. Basically, the only way Russell will go into Abu Dhabi still with a chance is if we see Bottas either retire or drop outside the top 10. Oh, we got yellow flags out. Someone's got issues. It's one of the Alfa Romeos. Is it Robert Schwartzman? Yes, it is, out of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Won't bring out a safety car, though. That could have certainly spiced things up here in Interlagos, but yeah, we've still got 14 to go. Oh, 10 laps to go. Looks like we've seen one of the Williams go round towards the rear of the field. Not too sure what's happened there, but yeah, less than 10 to go. We're kind of just driving into no man's land at the moment. Hamilton is slowly opening up the gap in front of me, but slowly putting away from Alex Albon behind. But yeah, at the moment though, I think the other thing to watch out for, Charles Leclerc is starting to take time out of Max Verstappen. 9 laps to go here, and I think Charles Leclerc can completely appreciate how valuable those extra 7 points could be come the end of this one. Bottas is still hanging around in that little pack. He's either still sat in 5th or 6th. So either way, Charles Leclerc will likely take points out of the Finn heading in towards the final race of this season. But yeah, Charles Leclerc, if he can get a win on the board here as well, 4 wins in a row, that would have a huge, huge momentum swing in championship permutations. And 5 laps to go then here in Brazil. I've just had a quick look on the race director. Leclerc and Verstappen, the gap is coming down slightly each and every lap, but really what Leclerc has to do is get within the DRS range with at least sort of 3 laps to go, so we can try and close it to the back of Verstappen and then really go for it on the last couple of laps here. But I'm not convinced at the moment. I think that gap's sitting at about 1.7, 1.8 seconds, and he's only a tenth or two faster a lap. Ferrari and Charles Leclerc are going to have to find something a little bit extra if they want to try and stop Max Verstappen this race, and like I said, pick up those potentially critical 7 points. Well, Verstappen then sets new fastest lap of the Grand Prix as we head onto the final lap here in Interlagos, and that should be enough for the Dutchman. It looks like he will walk away with the Grand Prix victory here today. We've got a big battle forming. Sergio Perez up against Carlos Sainz there for the final podium places, and I'm sure both those McLaren cars are watching that and thinking, how can we get involved in this? But as we start the final lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix, big talks at the top of the championship. It looks like Charles Leclerc will once again cut down the gap McLaren have got at the top of this championship. What I can't understand is I'm pretty certain Bottas is still sat behind Lando Norris in this Grand Prix. Surely you'd be telling Lando just to move out of the way on the final lap of this Grand Prix there. But we could see some drag racing up towards the line. Max Verstappen, though, it has not been Red Bull's year up to now, but the Dutchman will finally stand back on top of a Formula 1 podium here. Charles Leclerc, though, will come through for P2. Another brilliant drive by the Ferrari man, and somehow, he's going to go into the final race of the championship with the opportunity to defend his crown there. Charles Leclerc, new fastest lap as well at the checkered flag there, so that is a brilliant effort by him, and that could be one extra very, very useful bonus point there. Sainz is going to walk away with another podium ahead of Perez, and I'm pretty certain it is Lando Norris ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Daniel Ricciardo 7th, Hamilton P8. We will come through for a very, very quiet but respectable P9.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Well, it wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Charles Leclerc showed exactly how to manage yourself out on the track today. He was almost flawless out there. Incredible stuff.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. McLaren continue to increase their gap at the top. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Brazilian Grand Prix there, and certainly a lot of talking points to go through come the checkered flag. Max Verstappen does get the race victory, 2.3 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc, but with that fastest lap bonus point, Charles Leclerc does once again cut into Bottas' championship lead. I was wrong. McLaren had switched their drivers around. Bottas did come through for P5 ahead of Lando Norris, so at least some sense there down at McLaren. But yeah, like we said, Sainz again, another P3 for Alpine. How many times have we seen him able to hang on and hold off those front-running cars there? Perez ahead of both McLarens, Ricciardo, Hamilton, myself, and yeah, Alex Albon. More points on the board for Williams there. Fantastic effort by the Thai driver. Further down the order, yeah, Teo Porcher, unfortunate Grand Prix weekend for him. Just really lacked pace in the car. We got quite lucky, to be honest, to recover to where we did. And yeah, George Russell, how could he not get past Teo Porcher all afternoon long there? Horrible weekend for George. And that is him officially out of the Drivers' World Championship battle there. Having a look then at that gap, 11 points then the difference at the top of this championship, so there are certainly a lot of different ways and reasons that either driver could be crowned world champion. Lando Norris ahead of Hamilton though, that is still definitely a battle to watch out for, as George Russell has now guaranteed himself at least P3. Overall, he could still jump Charles Leclerc if things went right for him. For us, we can't gain, we can't lose anything in the final race of the year. We can really just sit back and enjoy the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's P10 overall in the championship there, and you know what? I'm very happy with that come the end of the year. Have we seen any of the movers further down the order? No, it doesn't look like we have. And yeah, just hoping that maybe, just maybe, Teo Porcher could jump Gasly in the championship in the final race of the campaign. Constructors-wise, though, with that result, McLaren have got one hand on the Constructors' Championship. It'll really take a miracle for Mercedes to walk away with that one. But, I mean, yeah, we could see McLaren for the first time since 1998. Finally, Constructors' World Champions once again. They're 24 years, 25 years technically actually, because this is 2023, of course, that McLaren have been waiting for that. I'm pretty certain as well, yeah, my maths hasn't failed me. We have guaranteed P6 as well in the Constructors' Championship. We can't go up, we can't go down after this race weekend as well. So yeah, really happy with the team. Aston Martin, AlphaTauri, there is still a lot to be disputed there. Haas and Williams, 1 point separate them. Critical point for Alex Albon this weekend could make all the difference. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed. And we will return Monday afternoon, ready for the finale of the F1 My Team Career Mode Season 2. Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas even. It's going to get spicy. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.